All right, it is June 29th, 2016, and we are here with our lovely teachers of CCSD, and they are going to go ahead and introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Claudia Guerra. I've been teaching for 15 years. I currently work for CCISD, third grade teacher, ESL.
I'm Catherine Garcia. This is my 5th year teaching with CCISD, and I will be working alongside a pre-K bilingual teacher.
Hi, I'm Teresa Godinez. I'm a third grade teacher. This is my 6th year teaching, and I will be moved to 5th grade, and I work for CCISD.
Hi, my name is Maria Ibarra. I have been teaching for 15 years, and I'm a 2nd grade bilingual teacher.
All right, we're going to go ahead and start with the presentation, and this presentation is based off on a paper exploration on the perceptions of 5 teachers that took a survey regarding questions of print literacy and parent involvement at home. Parent-child literacy interactions in the home environment of bilingual and ESL students. The purpose is or was to explore the perceptions of 5 bilingual teachers in grades K, 1st, 2nd, and 4th, and a 4th grade ESL teacher concerning parent-child literacy interactions in the home environment, how it impacts a student's vocabulary, and literacy development in the classroom. If it's believed to be taking place in the bilingual and ESL classrooms currently. The method used to gather these findings were it was based on a 10-question interview or survey involving what they felt were the literary practices that are involved in the homes of the children that we've had in our classrooms in the past years that we've been teaching. Each teacher either typed out their answers or were audio recorded while their responses were transcribed. The question number 1 that they had to answer was, what is your perception of parent and child literacy? The first participant responded, I think it's a key component to learning to read, and it is a great benefit to students. It is a time where parent and child come together to bond and share related experiences and make personal connections. Teacher 3, my perception of parent and child literacy is that parents believe that it is not in English. If it's not in English, it will not help the child academically. Teacher 4, it is important that children are exposed to literacy as early as possible, as in when the child is in the womb simply reading a story. Teacher 5, I have been a bilingual teacher in an elementary school servicing a population that is 99% at risk. And this teacher is from the Valley that answered this, the 4th grade bilingual teacher. Aside from my perception, my own conversations with my parents via conferences, home visits, tell me that many parents do not know that they can be creative when reading and writing, therefore do not really try or do so only minimally. For this reason, our student population comes to school not knowing many of the basics, and it is common to see these students 1 to 2 years behind. And she's in the class. Okay, question number 2 to the survey that the teachers had to answer. Do you feel it is taking place at home? These practices where parents are involved with their child. Teacher 1, yes, but only in about 50% of homes. More so than before, considering that it is being modeled and suggested in classroom and during PTA meetings. 3, no, I believe literacy is not taking place at home. Teacher 4, perhaps parents are reading a little bit with their children, but for the most part, parents are mainly just telling their children, make sure you're reading your books. And number 5, no, not often. Question 3 was just the percentage based on the previous question. If it's taking place at home, if the parent is actually taking time to read with their kid or practice literacy skills. And teacher 1 said about 50%, 2 the same, 50%. Teacher 3 said 30 to 40%. Teacher 4 less than 30%. Teacher 5, in my population, I would say 10% would be high. And teacher 4 actually didn't. Question number 4, do bilingual parents seek help in teaching their kids reading skills at home? Teacher 1 answered, "Some do, and they are always surprised when I tell them to continue to read to their children in Spanish." And I can relate to that because I'm a bilingual teacher as well, and they say that all the time. They feel sometimes that if they read in Spanish, they're not going to learn the English language, and they're going to fail. And it's just because they don't really know, the facts of they should acquire their first language fully, so that they could acquire the second language much easier or more fluently. The teacher number 2 said most of the parents are monolingual in Spanish and find it difficult to help their child. Therefore, they have older children that take their place to help. Teacher 3, no, parents do not seek help in teaching their kids at home. Teacher 4, yes, we do provide services on campus given by our parent liaison, involving them with their children at home. Teacher 5, very few parents ask for help. They do not want the teachers to know that their own literacy ability is below that of their children's. Question number 5, how would you rate parent involvement in literacy skills? Number 1, the 50% to 60% of parents that do work with their children at home are very consistent and try to help on a daily basis. I would say 60% of parents. Teacher 3, I would rate it very low. Teacher 4, the reason there's a small percent is that parents lack the education or literary knowledge. 5, I would rate it very poor, not because the parents do not care, but because they do not have the literary tools. Question number 6, what do you feel is the biggest challenge for parents of our students in promoting literacy skills? Teacher 1 answered they need training and materials as to how to help their children. Bilingual parents, especially monolingual, need Spanish materials and language acquisition training so they fully understand the benefits of strong first language proficiency. Teacher 2, provide the parent with reading games, books, free computer websites for the parents and child to use, and meeting with the teacher for one-to-one instruction. 3, the biggest challenge for parents is that they don't know how to help. Most parents did not receive an education in their native country. And most parents just, like we mentioned earlier, they are concerned of just do your homework, but they don't actually help them with the homework, when that could be in everything, math, reading, science, whatever they bring home. Number 4, teachers, she said the language itself, not knowing the English language. Number 5, a lack of confidence in their own ability and lack of tools. Parents have a great desire to see their children succeed. They really do not know how to help them get there. Question 7, how can the teacher help parents in order to practice reading skills with their child in their home environment? Teacher 1 answered, provide training, information, and materials so parents can practice daily reading skills at home. Teacher 2, making the time and being literate in the English language. Teacher 3, teachers can help by providing an environment where they feel appreciated, maybe once a month, parent-teacher training, volunteering at school. Teacher 4, it is important for the teacher to send information in both languages in order for the parent to help their child in the native language. And that happens a lot too at our school. Like, they send flyers, but it's on both languages, so the Spanish speaking, parents just don't feel like, they're valued, or they don't know what's going on, and so, how can they help their kids if they don't have that, both languages, or the language that they understand sent to them. Teacher 5, teachers need to always communicate with parents. It's important for parents to know that a homework and reading log will be sent daily, and it is their responsibility to ensure that the work and reading get done. Even if our parents are illiterate, this assistance is a great aid in their child's literacy advancement. If parents can be encouraged to at least read 5 minutes daily with their children, this too can help tremendously. A little every day means the world to a child. Question 8 was, do you notice a difference in the literacy development of bilingual students versus the monolingual students that are in the classroom? And teacher 1 answered yes. In some instances, the bilingual students struggle to gain phonemic awareness, reading skills, because they do not have someone at home that speaks English. 2 was, her answer was just yes. 3, yes, bilingual students lack literacy development. 4, being one of those bilingual students myself, growing as Spanish monolingual, as I began kinder, my dad would read with me leveled readers so that I could build my literacy skills. 5, of course, if we are only examining English, the monolingual English student far surpass the bilingual students. But if we are looking at total vocabulary, then the bilingual students tend to know more words when we add up all the English and all the Spanish words together. Question 9 was, do you think a literacy after-school program for parents and children would benefit the students in literacy development? First response, teacher 1, was absolutely. If parents had more information, they would do more for their children. And actually, this question is really much the basis of the whole exploration, and why I did the survey was because I plan to do a after-school literacy club with parents involving the child, and to see if it would promote their literacy skills, you know, within that year, the next year, and the next year, and follow those kids that are in the program with their parents. And after seeing the questioning and the answers, I mean, it's needed, and I think it's not needed only for bilingual students, but it's also needed for every student, all students. It's important that the parents take the time to read at home, you know, to develop, you know, there's studies that I've read too where you build the vocabulary by saying the objects, like this is apple. I mean, you just, the exposure to the vocabulary, even when they don't talk, like they're able to, even when they don't talk, when they do start talking, they're more faster cognitively. And so based on the results of that, you know, a lot of them said they don't have it at home, parents don't know. I think it's important that as teachers that we provide those strategies, and it doesn't have to be so hard or a lot of information, just, you know, showing them how to read aloud, predict, you know, turn the pages, and just that time that they spend, whether it's 5-10 minutes with their child, even, you know, 2 times, 3 times a week. But just to provide that assistance to the parents, I think that would come a long way. Teacher 2, to that question, answered, I think that most of the parents have other school children of different age levels that require their attention as well. Most parents are married and have other duties as well. Teacher 3 answered, yes, I believe parents truly want to help their child, they just don't know how. 4, absolutely, the more our parents become educated with the skills that kids need, the more it benefits and builds both and promotes student success. 5, teacher 5 answered, absolutely, but this program cannot be a cookie cut from what the schools offer. These must be interactive, fun, stimulating, technologically based programs. Question number 10. Do you communicate reading strategies for parents in order to assist their children in reading at home? Teacher 1 answered yes. I offer a conference day in October to provide one-to-one assistance to all parents. In addition, I communicate with parents throughout the year about the reading progress of their kids and send home daily reading booklets on their current level. Number 2, teacher participant 2 said yes, we provide a weekly calendar to their homework along with reading strategies for them to use weekly. Teacher number 3 answered yes, at least once a month. Teacher 4, I communicate with parents through parent conferences and make sure that they are able to translate in their language to their child. Teacher 5 answered, this is a difficult question to answer. Reading strategies can be very technical in the eyes of the parents. If we tell them you need to use phonics or onset and rhyme or phonemic awareness, then we will lose the parents. I personally do not communicate certain strategies to the parents. I simply want them to read with their child, if they are able to. Assist them with their homework, if they are able, or check their home and sign their log always. Literature findings, very few studies that correlate with this, with these questions in this whole paper. Very few studies address mothers of Mexican heritage to promote literacy practices in the home environment. De la Piedra, 2011, analyzed a practice titled Leer Juntas. And this was a literary practice in which mothers read with their daughters at home in order to maintain the Spanish language and the way of living. And it also talked about translanguaging, where she was able to communicate across borders and across country. I mean, it went even more deeper, but I mean, I just put this in it. But it's an article that you can read, and it's very interesting because it was actually a program that she did to have the mothers read with the child, an after-school program. Language exposure, quality of home language use, and literacy resources in the home are positively related to vocabulary knowledge among children in monolingual environments. And that was Snow 2010. School-related effective reading strategies parents can use in the home environment are like think alouds, KWLs, book sharing using the home language. Benefits of literary practices. They promote vocabulary development, they contribute to the maintenance of the native language, and it builds positive parent-child relationships. Questions and or comments? Does anybody have questions?
I just think it's really interesting because, like you said, you're focusing on the bilingual child, but I think even children that just aren't read to or don't have that interaction struggle with reading, and maybe they can say the words, but they don't understand, they don't comprehend. So like, as a third grade teacher, I've seen a lot of students that come in that they don't have the understanding of how to interpret what they read and put meaning behind it, I guess, especially like with poetry and things like that. And I've noticed that children who actually do read with their parents end up having a better understanding of that, or come in knowing more. That's just been my experience.
And the ones who don't have a very literal meaning. Everything they read is just literal. And they don't think
They
more
go back
about.
and read the same sentence to you, and there's no like,
There's
okay,
no,
senor.
what does this mean? And they just read it again. But no, really, what do you think that it means? And they just know how to read, but they don't.
They don't have any feel.
They
They can't put words to what they've read.
And I think a lot of it is that parents are just like, okay, if they could read, they're smart,
Right.
and they're gonna get it. And it's not true, because that's the way my godson was too. Like, he was in a private school, and he could read like fast and fluent, but when I said, let's read a book together, one that was a DRA book, like, we read it, and we stopped and asked, okay, what happened at the beginning, who were the characters? He could not answer me none of that. He had no comprehension at all. And why? Because his dad was just like, read your book, and he did read it, but what do we know? Do we know that they really spend time reading it and understand it? They need that interaction to where they're guided through that reading, even if it's for a little bit, but we don't know if they're getting that and what they're doing, and for them it's just, okay, well, I know the words, and it affects them long term, in so many areas.
Well, I know, like, I'm guilty as a parent. Like, when my child was little, and I would be cooking dinner, and have him read, okay, you read the book to me. Did you ever do that with your kids? And no. I did. I really did. Like, my son would sit, and as I'm making dinner or doing whatever, he's reading it to me, and if there was a word that he got, like, it was hard, or like, okay, but I never, until he got older, like, focused on, okay, well, what does that mean and why, because they...
Yeah, that happens
There were
everybody.
questions,
I wouldn't
I
have done that either before if I wasn't a teacher, but I
Yeah.
know that's important to guide them, but I guess sometimes parents are not told that, or like, the teachers don't, care enough to be like, but now, well, sometimes when you become mothers, like, you have that instinct to now what's important that you read to your kid at home, because, this happens, and it's just, so many factors that make a difference in how fast they develop and how fast, they acquire not only the second language, but just cognitive skills in many areas.
It's sad to see that there's such a big gap that can be prevented.
And did you read with both of your sons?
I did. I sat down with them every night reading them.
And that's why they're
Me or my
super
husband.
smart.
And I think those students are very fortunate, the ones that do have that environment and are exposed to that. However, all the community, all the different neighborhoods are different. The community that I serve, I see where there's single parents, the dynamics are just so different. where the children aren't exposed to the vocabulary itself. So we see that vocabulary in reading is one of a major concern in the community that I serve.
And a lot of my students, they don't own books. You know, we service a very low economic community, and that's just not a priority for them. You know, they want to eat and they want to have clothes for school and they need pencils, and so
And
they don't
toys.
go out and buy books.
Because
so a
at
lot of
home,
them, their
yes.
parents come and say,
Because
well,
of
he
parents.
couldn't read because he didn't have books. You know,
Yeah.
instead of,
Yeah, and I also think that if it would have been built, the love of books would have been built like really early into what they like, or like, you know, as soon as you see what they like, go get a book and start reading to them, even if it's the same book for a while, like they will learn to love, to enjoy reading, but sometimes so many teachers are like, read this book, or this is what you have to do. And that's why the students see reading as, you know, a punishment and not something to enjoy, and then that's why their literacy skills are just not there. So, that's something that we have to work on as teachers, and help our parents promote that literacy development with their child and that interaction at home. Well, I just want to thank y'all for coming and being here on your summertime off. I appreciate it sincerely.